Revelator John.
Hello, welcome to Revelator John. How does the sun affect the weather on Earth? The solar energy, the solar radiation, will heat up the Earth to varying degrees at different points. So the equator receiving the lion's share of the solar radiation and will be heated up the most. So the warmest temperatures will be in the equatorial regions. Conversely, at the poles, there'll be some of the coldest areas on Earth receiving the least heat energy, and also the atmosphere will be less vertically developed at the polar regions. Conversely, more vertically developed at the equatorial regions. At the equator, the atmosphere will be higher, up to 60,000 feet, creating a higher pressure system. At the polar regions, it'll be in the region of 25 to 30,000 feet, for example. Although not as vertically developed, it'll still be cold, dense air because of less heating. Therefore, we will have a higher pressure system. These higher pressure systems from the polar regions and the equatorial regions will move into the mid-latitudes, where they will mix and start to have an effect on the lower pressure systems, hence creating the weather systems and also the deterioration of weather associated with lower pressure systems. Because of the pressure systems, because of the solar heating, this will develop the properties of different air masses around the globe. So the air masses will have similar characteristics in a horizontal plane for temperature, humidity and pressure, always fueled by the effect of the solar energy. Depending on the area of the Earth, we will have solar heating of the sea, we will have solar heating of the Earth. Depending on the area of the Earth, we will have greater life associated with that, with the amount of heat available. So for example, if it's too hot, we will have less life, it'll be too hot to sustain life. If it's too cold, it will be too cold to sustain life. But in the middle regions, we will have more suitable weather to sustain life. So for example, we'll have greater vegetation, we'll have more animals, mammals, so on and so forth, more human activity. So with the sun, the sun has created the fuel, if you like, that is the foundation, the building block that keeps on producing weather. It affects the pressure systems, the atmosphere, it affects the temperature and the terrestrial radiation from the sea and also the land. It affects how the air masses interact with each other, how the pressure systems interact with each other. It also affects the type of land which we have, and the temperature of the sea which we have to a certain degree as well. So when we have different areas that might be a desert or a polar desert where there isn't any life, so there'll be less heat and moisture either retained or produced than in areas that has lots of vegetation and lots of animals. So there are other effects there are other elements that can affect weather, of course, but the overwhelming majority is always caused by the sun, the effect of the sun, the intensity of the sun, the amount of solar radiation. Thank you.